The brand new Mythical Island booster pack set is officially out, and I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on the cards to look out for. There are some cards you might even overlook because some of them are incredible. Like even on this first line here, Execute, very quickly we'll say, you take a grass energy from your energy zone. You could basically use Execute and Executive, if you notice here, with one energy. You can use it in any deck, which I absolutely love. It makes things like easier to play. And you know, you could use this ahead of the EX. I think this is really good direction for the Executor line. Celebi EX is incredible. I love it. Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. The attack does 50 damage for each heads. This is amazing with Superior. If you notice here, Superior, each grass energy attached to a grass Pokemon provides 2 grass energy. Obviously, you can't stack them, so you can't be really cringe and have 2 Superior out on your bench at the same time and have like basically a +2 every single round. But this combined with Celebi, I think, is unbelievable. I think this is going to be a very tough deck to beat once it gets going. Obviously, Celebi is a basic. Superior does take some time to get going. It is a stage 2 Pokemon, but Celebi provides insane damage straight away. It's a grass Pokemon. It can use things like Erica. I love this card. This card is amazing. Again, you could combine Superior with Delmise. This attack has... if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra grass energy, attack does 70 more damage. Again, it's about the grass energy stacking that you can do with Superior. This, again, it's a basic. Great synergy. I love this. Absolutely great synergy. And Sharnatic, probably saying the name wrong of that, is the grass version of Frostmoth. And it does extra damage than Frostmoth. So, again, I love this. I think... pretty much every card here is perfect. You could make a whole grass deck, and the synergies are amazing. Moving on to Fire, Ponyta, and Rapidash. Again, you got to think about Blaine. It's a very coin flip. I don't really like the coin flip Pokemon, but I will say for Rapidash, you could make the case that it's definitely worth it. If flip a coin, if heads is attacked, does 60 more damage. You combine that with a Blaine, and you get the 60 damage, you're doing 130, which is just insane to think about. That just instantly one-shots a Pikachu. But again, you could flip Tails. I mean, you're still doing 70 with a Blaine, I suppose. But I personally am not the biggest fan of the coin flip decks. I think this one, though, I think the Rapidash with 60 is better than the previous Rapidash, so fair enough. Magmar is just the worst Ninetales. I won't bother with that one. Volcarona. This card, I think, is very slept on already. Discard 2 energy. It does discard 2 from the Pokemon. But again, I mean, you could run this in a Moltres deck. I love this. Does 80 damage to one of your Pokemon. You could snipe something on the bench. You could combine this with the Pokemon Fleet to bring one of your opponent's Pokemon back from the discard pile. Put it in make them put it in their bench and then completely snipe it. I love this card. I think this card is amazing. Bit on the fragile side at 120 HP. And like I said, it does discard 2 fire energy. So you have to build up enough for this. I love this card. It's a bit squishy with 120 HP, but 80 damage to any of your opponent's Pokemon is just amazing. I love it. I mean, we saw how much like Zeb Striker was used in Hitmonlee, and anything that attacks the bench is, I think, very valuable, and we're going to see, I think, a lot of Volcarona, in my humble opinion. Salandit, if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 40 more damage, and Salazzle is your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Call me insane. I feel like you could play this in a poison deck. It does need... Salandit doesn't need the fire energy, but Salazzle does. If both of these were colorless, I think Salazzle... Well, one, you could put it in almost any deck at that point. But I do think it has really good synergy with the poison decks. I feel like there is some play here. And like I said, you only need 1 fire energy. I suppose with that, you could just get into those situations where you're only getting the dark energy and Salazzle is useless. That's why I think if it was colorless, this would have even more play. But I do like the card. I think there's something there. Guys, don't forget, please hit like and subscribe on this video. It would mean the absolute world to me. This is a brand new Pokemon account. I need all the help I can get. It's difficult. It's difficult to build again. I've got nearly 4,000 subscribers on my main account, but this is completely different content. And it's very hard to build from the ground up. So please, at the very least, think about subscribing. It would mean the absolute world to me. Magikarp is absolutely useless. So obviously you don't want to be stuck with this out. This is like the worst way to play the game. If you've just got one basic and you're not pulling basic and it's just magic, you will lose instantly. Gyarados EX is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Look at this card. Discard a random energy from among the energy attached to all your Pokemon. Well, that could be annoying if it's your energy, but you know, you could not only do insane damage, you could Giovanni one-shot a Mewtwo as an example. You one-shot Pikachu already. Already you're doing insane damage, and you could potentially hurt your opponent with their energy. I love this. This card is amazing. Vaporeon, I spoke about in a previous video. I think Vaporeon, along with Gyarados, will have incredible synergy. You can move water energy from your bench Pokemon. Like I said in the previous video, you get a good Misty roll. You could then start dishing out that energy to the rest of your team. In those games where you're getting an insane amount of Misty Heads in a row, they're not wasted with Vaporeon, which is going to be horrible to go against. That's all I'm going to say. But if it's your team, you're loving it. Luminion. This is Zeb Striker, but better, in my honest opinion. 50 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You just one-shot some basics straight away. You one-shot a Magikarp, as an example. And I love it. I think this could definitely find its way into water decks as a backline hitter. You gotta think of a way to get around certain teams. This 3 turns to kill a Mewtwo in the back. Say a Mewtwo is hiding behind some Snorlaxes. I feel like you could use this very easily. You do have to evolve it, obviously, same as Zeb Striker, and it does take 2 energy. So maybe Zeb Striker might be the better, but no retreat. 0 retreat, I think, is really important to look at here. I feel like in the cases where your opponent uses a Sabrina, you take Luminion into your water deck, you make Sabrina obsolete. I love it. This card is, I really like Luminion. It's a bit squishy though, but I'm a big fan of the 50 damage. Not a fan of these two. It's just high energy, high retreat. Personally, I don't think it's that great. Cramorant's a little bit like Dog Trio. I don't think it's good though, because it's just that I look at the heavy investment, right? Would you rather put 3 into Cramorant or 4 into Gyarados? Look what you get for that extra 1 more on Gyarados, and it's an EX. I just think it's not worth it. There will be times where you probably lose to this if someone uses it and just gets really lucky and keeps flipping heads, but I don't know. I don't think it's that good personally. Another Pikachu. Again, this is just basically Pikachu EX, but in baby form, which I find is kind of cute. I think it's definitely better than the current Pikachu that we have. If you want to use it with a Raichu, this attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I love this. Again, anything that attacks the bench, I think is very useful. You also don't have to discard energy, so you could use this with a Lieutenant Surge and still keep the energy after. 60 is a bit low, but I think it's balanced with the 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon's bench, and 120 HP is a very good, solid amount. Electabuzz, I don't like. I know you don't have to evolve Electabuzz, but you compare Electabuzz with the one above it with Luminion. You do have to evolve this, but this does 50 damage, this does 40. And it's 10 HP more. I just feel like just take Zeb Striker. You know, it's 1 energy. You do have to evolve it, but I feel like Electabuzz will get no play at all. Galvantula is a frail version of Arbok. I love it. Sabrina plays are going to make this very irritating to go against. You could try and cook up something with Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl only needs 1 fighting energy. You could take a Brock. There are ways where you could use Aerodactyl's ability, swap in Galvantula, and disrupt your opponent completely. It is squishy though, and we found that with Arbok, and this has 20 HP less than Arbok. Dedenne is really good to stall. I think it's actually a better version of Pincurchin, because the Pincurchin's, I think, usefulness comes with the fact that you can paralyze and get an extra turn. You only need 1 energy for Dedenne. You obviously don't want it out a lot. This will only be used mainly for Pikachu's backline, in his bench to boost his attack, but in those situations where you're desperate, I think Dedenne could actually be useful. Just an extra turn of stall, sometimes all you need. Reskin of the card that we got, Mew EX. I've already spoke about this card. I think is amazing. I love it, and you could use it in any deck. I think this will be the most used card throughout the entire set, because you can throw it anywhere. Sigilif is Meowth, but better, but less versatile. So it's the Meowth of the Mewtwo set, but you'd only really find Meowth in Mewtwo sets. Some people don't use that anymore. They just use the baby Mewtwo, and I've seen some people use Meowth with Persian. Obviously, you don't get the evolution here, but it's a bulkier version of Meowth. It does have the psychic energy, so this could do extra damage as well if you're playing against a psychic weak team. I like the card. I actually like the card personally. You run 2 of these in your deck, and you can start building your ults in the back. I personally like it. Bohemian. So it's quick retreat. It's a very quick damage, quick retreat. It's weird that it could actually do less damage than Elgyem as an evolved Pokemon, which is kind of funny to think about. It does punish your opponents for just slapping everything on the deck. So obviously, if you're going against a Bohemian, you got to think about that. This card can be useful in certain situations. There will be those like you go against like an Articuno deck, which will only have an Articuno out. This card is just basically useless. But there will be those situations where, again, against Pikachu, you're doing 70 damage, 80 with a Giovanni. 1 energy. That's pretty good. Flabebe is a worse Jigglypuff, 40 HP. I'm not a fan of that. That gets one shot by a Farfetch'd. I think it's one of the lowest HP Pokemon in the game. Obviously, Magikarp is lower, but I'm just not a fan. I wouldn't want this out. Yes, the sleep is nice, but if they flip heads and you get hit with Farfetch'd little leak, you are dead. Floetta is this here, the heal 10 from this Pokemon. It's just a better version of Petalil. I like it. And Florges, I'm a huge fan. This is like Butterfree, but in the front. And I like this. It's 2 stages, but 2 energy for 80 damage is very consistent, and you're healing Pokemon. I actually really like this. I feel like you could fit this in a lot of the Psychic decks. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, let me know in the comments. Swirlix Jumpluff, very basic. We'll move on. Mankey is interesting. So this is now the 3rd Mankey card. I think it's better than the first one. I still think the promo Mankey is better than this because it feeds more into Primate. I think also the promo Primate is better than this one. But there will be those situations where in the mirror matchup and you're running the new promo Mankey, you could flip a coin and instantly one-shot their Mankey. Those situations I think will be funny. Overall, I think this won't be as consistent as the previous promo Mankey. Like I said, if you disagree with me, let me know. But 50 damage for a coin flip, it's not bad. It could win a game very early on the spot, especially if they only have one basic Pokemon, and that basic Pokemon has 50 HP or less. You could put a Giovanni on this if you want to risk it, because a lot of basic Pokemon are 60 HP. You could just win the game literally, your first turn. So yeah, we'll see on that. It's just I'm not a huge fan of the RNG cards. The Golem set. These 2 I don't like. Graveler Geodude, just like in the previous sets, not very good. However, Golem is, I think, incredible. You get to build this thing. I love it. 160 HP. It is a tank. 4 energy is a lot. 120 damage. 1 shot to Pikachu. And it's like it feels like a better Melmetal in a way because like your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 30 damage from attacks. I love this card. I love this card. I think it is amazing. This will go really well. You can slap a Brock on here to build it even faster. I think this card will definitely have some play. The HP, I think, is the key part here. It's even better than it was before, and it does damage. It doesn't hurt itself in recoil like the previous one. I love this card. It's amazing. Aerodactyl EX I've spoke about already. I love it. 2 energy for 80 damage, and you can do some really cool plays. Your opponent cannot play any Pokemon from the hand. I saw someone in my comments say you can combine this with Pidgeot, and it's going to be very punishing for your opponent if they make any kind of mistake. I say with Mars Shadow, I don't think this will be used as much, but there will be games where you just instantly one-shot as a revenge killer, very similar to Retalia in VGC. Coughing and Wheezing, the new Coughing and Wheezing set. I like this Coughing more than the previous Coughing. I don't like this Wheezing more than the previous Wheezing. It's a bit cringe to go against during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon tries to use attacks. I just feel like the consistency is more there with the previous Weezing. You get to poison, you do consistent damage with 1 energy. This one you need 2. I personally like that more. It's easier to, I think, to Koga and then slap an energy back on another coughing. I think makes the rotation a lot more easy to do, and that's just my honest take. Yeah, I think you should use the new coughing with the old Weezing. Purloin, Lipard, very standard, basic. Venipede, Whirlipede, Scolipede. Again, you do have to evolve twice, but I really like this card. Heavy HP, good damage, good synergy with the Weezing, the old Weezing. You could Koga the old Weezing after poisoning. You swap in Scolipede. This card is amazing. I love it. It's just muck, but 10 times better. I'm a huge fan. Druddigon is the only dragon in the deck. I don't like it. Fire, water, and colorless energy. I feel like you have to really go out your way to use this, and I don't think it's worth it. It does have the Poliwrath ability, which is like you basically counter attack your opponent. I don't like the card. 3 energy. It does 90 damage. If it was a lightning water deck, this would be fine, but because it's fire water, I don't like the card. I think this is actually the most disappointing card in the whole set. Maybe people disagree with me there. I just feel like you have to be the biggest Druddigon fan to try and make this work. And that's my honest opinion. Even though if the retreat cost was 1, that'd be nice, but it's 2. I don't know. I'm just not a fan. Pidgey, I like this. 20 damage instead of, I think the last one was 10, but I might be wrong. And 50 HP. I think the 50 HP is lower. I like the card. I think it's nice. Pidgeotto, don't like. 3 energy. I mean, it does synergize with its EX, but you want this to be like the matchup line, which is like 1, 2, 3, not 1, 3, 3. So I don't think it has the evolution synergy as other Pokemon, but Pidgeot EX, I massively love. I think this card is incredible. Very bulky. Already we've seen like Gyarados with 180, Pidgeot with 170. This attack does 20 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's a colorless Pokemon. You could put it in any deck, and I love that. Yeah, this card is amazing. I think we'll see this quite a lot. Like, you could be potentially doing 140. You could have, think of this, right? 80 damage plus 20 for your opponent's bench. 100, 120, 140. Slap a Giovanni on there. Have Aerodactyl in this deck as well. You could bring a Mewtwo in the back, or if it's not already in the back, you could Giovanni and kill it. I love this. This card is amazing. I'm a huge fan. Again, if you disagree with my opinions, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Tauros, like I said, it is the Pikachu killer. It goes for EXs. I think it's the only Pokemon card in this whole set and the game that has extra EX damage. Does take a bit to build up, but you can use it in a lot of decks. It's versatile because it's colorless. Eevee is... I like this. It's better than the previous Eevees. Flip a coin so you get tails. This, in theory, technically could kill anything. Which is really funny, actually, to think about. This Eevee card, I really like. Already we've seen Vaporeon be very strong. All the evolutions, actually, I think are quite strong, actually. And this, I think, synergizes very well with that. I think it's a lot better than the Eevee that we have now. Obviously, there will be those times where you just get tails straight away, but there'll be those games where you just keep getting heads and you just keep doing damage. Chatot, I don't think it's a good card. I think people will try and use this. There will be those situations. You'll see TikTok clips, you'll see YouTube shorts of people using Chatot, getting like 9, 10 cards, going against like an Articuno deck when they've got loads in their hand. There'll be those situations where, like, rather than red card your opponent, you'll use Chatot. I just think it's far too situational. Doesn't do even any damage. 60 HP. I would steer clear. Unless you're a content creator and you want to cook up something gimmicky, steer clear of this card. Pokemon Flute can be used very badly, can be used very well. Let's say your opponent has a low HP discarded Pokemon you've already knocked out. You could just bring another one back in. It is a trainer. It's an item, not a supporter, so you could combine this with a Sabrina. If this was a supporter, I don't think it'd be as good, obviously. But I like the card. Mythical Slab, I think, is the best item. Of all the trainer cards I bought out, I think it's the best one. if you're using Mewtwo, this card is amazing. The fact it's not a supporter, I feel like they've made a mistake. Because it feels like a support card. Look at the top card of your deck. If that card is a psychic Pokemon, put it in your hand. You could literally just run the all psychic Mewtwo deck, and this is like a third Pokeball. Like, why is this not a supporter? This is unbelievable. You could run this with. There are some teams that will run like a Meowth or like a Farfetch'd or even a Kangaskhan, but there's a situational where like you want them out straight away to do damage. But if you've already built a team, their usefulness goes. I think from the start of the game they're really useful, towards the end they're not. And this, in those situations, pushes them cards towards the back if you haven't got it. So if, say, you're looking for a Curly or a Gardevoir in your Mewtwo set, but you have a Kangaskhan in your deck somewhere, this makes sure that, at the very least, Kangaskhan's going to the back. I love it. This card is amazing. Genuinely, I think the best one. The Koga for Mew, I don't think it's that good. I don't know. I feel like you invest a lot of energy in Mew anyway. There will be those situations where you're getting outsped and your Mew is going to die. So I suppose this does save the Mew. But a whole card on that? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But if I've got a Mew out, I've put energy on it. I want it to stay on the field. I don't want to rebuild that again. You know, that's the thing for me. The reason why Koga is so good is because it's one energy on Weezing. It's very easy to rotate. One energy is really nice. We've got the Anti-Giovanni. There's so many examples of Pokemon that will survive if they just combine as 10 from an attack. This will help them. It will also, in those situations where, say in a tournament, you know your opponent has a Giovanni in his, you can pretty much guarantee that he has it in his hand, like towards late game, and you know that he's going to use it. You could just preemptively use blue and make sure he can't one-shot you with Giovanni. I like the card. I think it has really good play. Leaf, you could use this. You could be... I don't know if many people do this. You could use Leaf instead of X speeds, but it's more risky because obviously there's 2 X speeds. Leaf is 1. And there'll be those situations where you want to rotate more. You could use this as well with X speed and rotate Pokemon like a Snorlax Wall. We'll see. I think that does require 3 cards to remove 1 Pokemon, so maybe that's a bit much. But I like the card. You could use it. Especially, like, I think you take 1 and 2 XP. I think it's quite a nice card. And then these are all the full art. I think the best full art, by the way, is probably Gyarados. I love the Giovanni background. It's really nice. Makes it look like an evil Gyarados. I love it. Amazing. Thank you all for watching. Once again, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is a new channel around here. It's really hard to build a community early on, so any help will be massively appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and let me know what your favourite card is in the deck.